but I'd estimate it was about a half-mile long on a side, and maybe half as high as that. It's just slowly floating in the air, strafing the face of the mountain range. It's floating out past the range of the city, out into the desert. The road we're on is headed in a direction somewhat perpendicular to the line of travel of the object, so if we continue driving we'll be moving farther away from it. We pull over and watch it. It seems like it's moving very slowly, but maybe that's an illusion caused by how huge it is, because it seems to cover the distance of several miles in just a couple minutes. It's moving farther away. My friends and I decide there's nothing more for us to do, and we turn around and carry on with our day. I'm a little disappointed with how anticlimactic the sighting was. Nothing really happened. When I get home that night, I browse the local news channels. There's no mention of it. I never hear about it again. Can't believe I saw something like that. It was wild, just surreal. Told this before on the board a while ago but was hasty. It's a story that intrigued me since I was about 12 years old, not my experience, never had one. Might take a few posts as I want to give some background/context. When we were kids my dad managed to get in touch with an old friend who had moved to a rural part of Scotland, place in Ayrshire, and he'd been keeping in touch for a while. Then my dad decided we would visit them for a weekend. I'd never met these people before. Mother was a nurse, the man who my dad was friends with a mechanic. They had 2 sons, one an older teen who I hardly saw and a kid my age, so was me, my brother and this kid most of the weekend. There was some old circular, grassy area near his house with some large rocks, like a miniature Stonehenge. We hung out there for a while and he told us various rumors that people had seen various things there, from paranormal shit to supposed big cats, panthers, allegedly, and my older brother was making fun of it. He then said his dad had told him a story of a man made of wood or something. We're going back 30 years but we were laughing and making fun of him. Anyway, we went back to his house and had dinner, playing video games while the grown-ups had drinks and stuff. His dad came into the room a few times. Drunker he got the jollier. Then he came in and was telling us to switch off and get to bed. His kid was like, "Tell them about the wooden man, they don't believe me." He's like, "What? No." Seems a bit embarrassed. Kid pushes it and he's like, "Okay, but after I tell you then it's lights out." So he starts off. Was a kid. Him and some friends collected some old wood/timber to build a hut/den. We also did this as kids. It was a common thing for kids to do in Scotland, probably elsewhere I dunno. They all nicked tools from their dad's toolboxes, saws, hammers, whatever they could find. They had a chopper which I took to mean a machete or axe for clearing away bushes and trees on the chosen site for their den. They built the den and were happy. It was getting dark so they were gathering their tools to head home. Next thing the bushes behind the den start to rustle. They look over and see an old trampy looking man emerge from the bushes. I remember him saying this fellow was wearing a lot of clothes and looked fairly harmless. They asked if he was okay. The man didn't answer, but slowly walked towards them, getting agitated. I suppose they asked again, "Mister, are you okay?" "Nothing, just moving closer." They start to back up a bit, then suddenly the old fellow lunges forward and grabs my dad's friend, young teenage boy, by the throat and started to strangle him. He said he heard his friends screaming to let him go and started to panic, a lot of pressure and pain. This is where I started to believe him. His tone changed and his eyes began to water a bit. He said he didn't want to and was reluctant, but survival instinct took over. He couldn't escape. He was holding this tool or chopper, though, so he struck the old man right across the forehead with a lot of force. I'm trying hard to remember best I can, but I distinctly, which confused me at the time being a young lad, like fuck that the guy was trying to strangle you. Anyways, this is the weird bit. he said when he hit this man on the head, it wasn't what he expected. He said his head literally splintered like a tree would if you hit it with an axe. Splinters of wood popped out in all directions and there was no blood, nor did the man react with pain, but he did let go. They ran off. He said he looked back as they were running and the man wasn't chasing them, but he said he saw the man bend down and pick something up from the ground at his feet and put it in his pocket. They kept running. He was scared and told someone, I think his dad or mother, and they took the kids back to where this happened to look around, thinking an old man was probably injured or dead. Nobody there, but the den they'd built was wrecked. He said he was really worried that he was in trouble. It was a rural area and homeless people back then in a place like that would be rare. After I shared this recently, I got really curious about it and asked my dad. He has lost contact with this fellow again, they haven't spoken in years. Dad said he knows nothing of it, but this guy moved around a lot and they weren't like tight or close, best friends, they were friends but he was a bit of a drifter. He said he finds the story odd but the guy is pretty straight and not prone to telling tales. Ever heard anything like this before? I was chased by clowns in 2007. Late at night, about 10 or so clowns just rounded a corner and chased me for 3 hours through empty streets in an industrial area. I remember screaming for help. They had knives and bats. Eventually escaped. Smoked DMT 20 times in a week, alone in the darkness with noise-canceling headphones. The critters can be benevolent but some will drain your consciousness. Those fucking shadow people with shape-shifting pyramid pets tried to scare me but I just laughed of astonishment. Useless to describe in a rabbit hole with no end or objective truths. I also saw ball lightning when I was little and I still get goosebumps when I remember. Right now I'm watching the apocalypse in slow motion. Anyone in here from Vancouver? Can? It's kind of anticlimactic, but I saw a weird creature/thing running around in the Deep Cove area that a lot of folks I know have also come across/seen. Il Green text my experience. Be 15 or 16. Had dinner with GF family, hung out with GF for a while and was heading to catch a bus home. Bus stop is on a road that runs through and then alongside a native reserve. This bus stop specifically is completely deserted at night. Chilling, waiting for bus, listening to iPod. Suddenly feel uneasy, take out earbuds and survey surroundings. Is completely deserted around me as always. Look north, up the road toward Panorama Park. See movement poke out from the bushes on the east side of the road. Figure it's a raccoon or some other kind of critter that are common to the area. It comes out of the bush. It's definitely not any of the local fauna. Looks like a greyhound, but on its hind legs and shorter. The knee joints are reversed. As soon as it comes out of the bush it skitters across the street to the west side. All of this takes place a decent distance past the intersection directly north of me. Just stare, dumbfounded at the now empty street, eyes scanning in case it comes out. It doesn't reappear and soon enough I see the headlights of the bus over the hill. Catch the bus home and the rest of the night was uneventful. That was the end of it. Have not seen it since, but some of my acquaintances from the area described a similar thing when asked if they had seen anything strange there. Still don't know WTF it was. Anyone have ideas? Dunno if this counts. B13. Stepdad inherits old house from a far-out relative. We moved there a few months after. All the original furniture is still there including clothes etc. The room I chose to sleep in had just an old bed and a closet. Every night I slept in that room I had the same nightmare. I dreamt going out to an old well just outside the house to get water. I fall in and drown. I also feel like I'm drowning as in real life. Just as I am about to die, I wake up in full panic. This happens every single time I sleep there. It turns out that the bed I slept in belonged to one of the younger sons that used to live there. And that kid actually fell down the well and drowned when getting water for the family. I got a new bed and the dream stopped immediately. I'm still pretty spooked about it. I've got one, probably the most supernatural / weirdest thing I've seen. For what it's worth, I live on tribal land in the Pacific Northwest. Be me. Move in with buddy out in the sticks of tribal land last summer. Go out in a woods a couple days a week to get a lay of the area. Find pick related, pretty cool, go back there often as a quiet place. Go out one day. Close to dusk when I start heading back. Out of the corner of my eye see what appears to be a tall white humanoid peeking from behind a tree, can't focus on it. Hair raises up, can't turn head to get a good look as I head home. Tell a couple friends about it, think nothing of it. Go out with one of said friends a couple weeks later. Start heading back before dusk. See same figure again, unfocused, in the corner of my eyes. We get back, friend didn't see anything. Few days later talking about it with one of my roommates and they say they saw something similar while they were pissing in the woods. What the fuck is lurking in the woods, /x/? I've only seen dusk. I typically go out earlier in the day now if at all. I'm a little jealous of you. Never had any spooky shit happen to me. Be visiting National Park. Get to the top of visitor area, enjoying the view. Strange middle-aged guy I hadn't seen walks up. It's a good day for the Lord, isn't it? Yeah, I guess. Go to meet up with group. Not 5 seconds later, turn around and the old man is gone. Top of the area is a stone plateau, no way he could have even sprinted into the woods that fast. Fucker just disappeared. Tell group. No one else saw this guy either. I still remember him clearly, blue polo and tan shorts, peppery black hair and beard, white. One of my religious friends thought that maybe I met an angel or Jesus, but I'm not sure at all. Still really weird because unless this guy was an Olympic sprinter, there was no way he could have gotten back to the tree line from where we were near the edge of this plateau. Something like that happened to me when I was driving home once, except it was with a car. Be driving home. Main road is supposedly haunted. Road is foggy. See tail lights of car in front of my turn. Look down road where car turned. No tail lights to be seen. Shouldn't have had anywhere to pull into. I was only about 6 to 8 seconds behind that car when it turned. I live in a spooky area, man. Be me at age 9. Get sick and nearly die, long story itself. Laying in bed drugged out of my mind because pain. See tentacles slithering from under my bed. Reaching towards me. I freak the fuck out but can't move. One begins to wrap around my head. Feel nothing but the pain I normally felt, but it got worse. Start crying to myself.